Okay.
Mother and Daddy were raised in this little town of Washington, Utah, which is 5 or 8 miles from George, which is quite a nice city now. And everyone there was Mormon. They didn't even know there was any Mormons in the world, I don't think. They all were brought over by the Mormon church, the families were. And I never could quite figure this one out, but my grandpa Tegan was from a family of, I think it was 3 girls, and his mother was a widow, and they brought that family over here to live in Washington, and she never did get married off. I thought they wanted her to marry, but she didn't. And they didn't ever go to church, I don't think. Mm-hmm. I don't think the Tegans ever did. Mother's family, the Barons, Grandma Barron, tried to get her family to go to church.
The Mormon church.
Yeah, the church. It was there wasn't
anything else.
They didn't know anything about anything but Mormons.
Mm-hmm. So up in Filer, though, there wasn't a Mormon church?
No, there wasn't one there. Not until I was in high school. I was 16 when a Mormon church came in. So in my girlhood, I went to church. In those days, quite a few communities would kind of have a community church, and it was in school. And I was about the only one in the family, but I went down to that whenever it was being run, when there was someone that was kind of head of it. Well, I went to that all through grade school. I was I liked church, and I was a believer, and I liked to go to church and do things with it. And then when there wasn't that going on, I went to the Methodist church with our neighbors, the Foxes, lived up the road. So I never was raised in the Mormon church at all until I was 16. And when one opened up in Filer, this sounds funny because it's hard to believe, but it was really hard for me. Mormons were new in that area, and they kind of were made fun of. Oh, you're a Mormon, kind of like it was something different, about like you were black or something, And it was hard for me. I was 16 at the time when you didn't want to be different. You wanted to be with what everyone else is.
Right.
And I couldn't play the piano very well, but Mother got me up there playing some hymns before church, and I'd sneak up the back door and go in the back of the church up some steps. Isn't that awful? But that's the way I felt about it. It was hard for me.
Yeah,
really.
Sure.
But I admired and loved my mother so much that I pretty well did whatever she wanted me to do. But
so tell me about your faith. That you always sounds like from a young age you had a lot of faith.
I just always liked church, and I liked the belief, and Mother would talk to me quite a bit. We talked about God and Jesus and all, and I think she talked to all of us. We didn't have much books. Kids didn't have books then like they do now. Once in a while I'd get 2 or 3 books for Christmas, but we never had a library of reading books at that time. We were one of the few lucky families that had these books of knowledge that I've talked about, which are encyclopedias.
Yeah.
They're known as. And they were just wonderful to have. They were good for all of us.
I wish we still had ours. We had those encyclopedias.
And I didn't realize it was such a blessing until later on. That very few families had those.
We were always getting them out and looking at them. So was Ed a Mormon too?
No. And it was just, as I say, just getting a start when I was in high school. And so I never really went to the Mormon church very much when I was growing up.
Do you consider yourself Mormon today?
Oh, no. No, I belong to the Presbyterian church.
That's right.
And when I married Ed, and this is probably a mistake with a lot of young married couples, there's never any talk about religion. You just think everything's going to be fine. We're married at home, and the Methodist minister married us, and that was because Mother didn't think the bishop of the Mormon church, he was a good old farmer boy, and I really liked him, and I would have had him marry us, but Mother thought it'd be better to have a real minister marry us. And so, see, she did that too, a little bit.
So you took the kids to church, and Ed
I started it
them.
when they started Sunday school age. I did start taking them to the Mormon church. And when you're in the Mormon church, when they're 8, you're supposed to be baptized and join and be a Mormon. And it's done by immersion. And I was done. Mother took me to Twin Falls. I remember I was immersed in the Mormon. So I've been married. I've been baptized in the Mormon church and the Presbyterian church.
Well, that's good. You got double insurance.
And if I knew a good Catholic, I might be baptized. Anyway. But I never talked to Ed ever about being Mormon. And I didn't think it was fair when Linda was 8 and they started coming to our house to get her baptized and be a member, to start then to pushing on it. And I had no right to say I wanted to be, and we talked it over. And I bet our kids remember this, the oldest 2 sure do. We decided that we were going to pick a church and become our own church, and we would go to Twin Falls with it, and not the Methodist church in Father was directly across from the Mormon church. And it was one of the hardest things I ever did to my mother. But I said it was more fair to Ed and to me to talk it over and go our own way, I felt. And so that's what we did. And we went to church in about 6 different churches every Sunday one winter.
So you found the one you liked?
The Presbyterian church. We had friends in the Presbyterian church, and so they called us and invited us back and doing things. And they had a good group of young married people like we were that met and had meetings and parties and things. And so we all became Presbyterians.
Did your mother get over it?
What?
Did your mother get over being mad at you about that?
She never was mad. She was hurt more than mad. Yeah, it hurt her. But I thought I had every right in the world to. I hadn't been to church. I really wasn't raised in the Mormon church.
Well, you did what you thought was best for your family.